takeoff.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Burning Wheel. So I'm Daniel. I have the great pleasure of being joined tonight by Rasmus, by Chris, and by Aya. Hi everyone. How you been doing?
Howdy.
We're good.
It's good to know. Good to know. How about you, AJ? You seem so quiet.
I am.
So
I'm doing fine.
Yep.
wonderful. All right. So yeah, let's play some Burning Wheel. It's been 2 weeks since we played.
Yes.
Yeah. Does everyone remember what we were doing?
Yes.
Murdering shit.
Yes, it was
We
quite
went-
glorious.
We went to acquire a cart from some refugees from the Stormlands in order to use this cart for an operation where we would be stealing some Lylan cloth for the sake of funding my character's gang. But the refugees we tried to steal the cart from were, in fact, quite capable of looking after themselves. A big fight ensued, where Jihaoji, Rasmus's character, made a mortal enemy of his own people by refusing to return to see
They
his...
already hated me.
Yes,
Wow.
but now they hate you even more because you've actually killed some of them.
He did warn them, I might add.
I
Yeah,
told them, get out of my way or die.
You think they're gonna care about little details like that? Point is, you did that. You used a spectacular show of magic to do it, scaring the crap out of anyone else around. We've killed all the people. We have the cart and a pretty terrified Strider goat thing. Unless we got rid of that, I can't remember.
Oh, you have.
I think we
that
kept.
too.
We kept it, and so now we basically need to try and get the cart back to home base, so we can hook it up to probably so we can hook it up to the other Strider that's more inclined to do as it's told, at least to do what the two Stormland gang members tell it to, and make ready for the heist.
Yeah, that's pretty concise. We did skip over some of the minor details, like how you accidentally killed some innocent bystanders, and the ensuing stampede murdered some other people as well, and how there was an overcasting of natural effects magic causing nearby buildings to catch fire. But these are irrelevant details.
There's no such thing as irrelevant details in a role-playing game, especially not in one with this system.
It's
Do not try to
irrelevant.
fool us.
From the viewpoint of Shihaoji, it's irrelevant.
And,
No, that's
and
because-
really, can other viewpoints be said to matter, right?
No.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
So yeah,
I have made a boo-boo though.
yeah, let's hear it.
Because last time, the first spell went off without a hitch. The second one drained me a bit. And I said, well, I'll just remember it so I don't accidentally leave it in. But I forgot how much I was drained.
Let's have a look at it then. Just gonna scroll through a long log of me running some tests in the background. Never mind that. Just gonna scroll up until I find somewhere where maybe... Yeah,
I don't think it was very much, but it
let's
was...
view all chat entries for this game. What could possibly go wrong?
Everything.
You
Yeah.
could become a potato? I mean, AJ and I are already potatoes, but you don't seem the potato type.
I'm thinking if I find a fort test from you, I can see by how much it's been failed, and then we'll be able to see from that. Yeah, so
Probably.
there's a fort test here that is...
I think it was like 2 or something. It wasn't that bad.
I can't see it in the log. That's a shame. Okay, so yeah, so we'll just let's go with 2. 2 seems fine.
Ah. So my fort is down by 2.
Yeah. And some of you are injured, I recall.
Yes.
Am I?
I believe that's all been...
Yes, it's great. I'm fine.
I have a superficial wound.
Yes. I have 2 superficial wounds.
I have a light one and a superficial one.
These are things we will see to it are fixed as we start play. But before we do that, let's talk about because now we've talked about what happened last session. Let's talk about what is going to happen this session. What are you going to be up to?
Tapping.
Well, if that's what you want to do. I will be trying to convince you to help me get the cart back to my base, getting it back to base, and then preparing it for the heist, while also doing our best to keep a lowdown, considering the chaos that we've essentially helped cause in that area of the city.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Of course you don't.
All right. So you want to? Yeah. It seems likely that you continue doing what you're about to do. Especially if I recall correctly, considering that the shipment of cloth that you are wanting to steal is actually already bought and paid for, and will be moved in around 24 hours or so. Like, will be moved tomorrow. So sneaking in and taking it now that you know where it is, and that you know, like, circa the amount of guards that's going to be there, is helpful to your odds of success.
Yep, we know it's fairly lightly defended. We know that we need to do it tonight, but we need the carts so we can load as much of the stuff on as possible to actually make a profit of it. Just carrying it on our hands, is A, insufficient, and B, will look a bit suspicious.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I mean, walking around with arms full of crates down the city at like laden by nightfall is you're probably not going to run into that many people, but the ones you are going to run into are probably going to take note.
Mm-hmm. So yes, having the crates and the bolts loaded onto a cart will probably help, and especially if we cover the cart with a cloth or a tarp of some kind.
Yeah, that's probably very true. We'll get to that when we get into the swing of things.
Yes.
So, all right, let's talk about your beliefs, traits, and instincts, or beliefs, instincts, and traits, if we want to be OCD about it. As usual, we'll start from the top. Minnow, why don't you tell us your bits?
My bits? I thought you wanted to know about my information.
Yeah, that aberration is not good for this group, Daniel. You know that.
I am going to teach you, okay? You will be trained. Right. You will be trained to understand. I will go Pavlov on you.
You know what? In that case, I'll deliberately misunderstand it every single time.
People who don't misunderstand it will be awarded a fate point.
Don't care.
Oh, damn it. All right. Well, let's hear it for your beliefs first. Let's hear it from Minomir's beliefs.
Since I sort of prefer a roof over my head, I figure I should make the heist a huge success. This could also help with the standing in the little group.
Yeah, that's cool. So you want to make this this heist a great success because you would prefer to be like well considered within your new workspace, and because you want to your present organization of employed to keep being able to provide for you. That makes sense. So it's like a survivalist, and it's a combination of survivalist motivation and like self-image stuff going on. It's pretty cool. What's your second belief?
I still want to lay low, but my brother is showing off. I seriously need to stop the little brat before we get hurt.
Yeah, that's a belief you have, isn't it? As of last time. So let's actually, I want to ask you something about that. How if in any way was Minnow's opinion of that belief, like the sense of urgency on that of that belief, affected by the fight that happened last time? Because things did. I mean, you definitely won the battle, right? It's victory. You are great and conquering, and you got what you wanted. But there is no denying that it did get a bit out of hand, and you were definitely noticed in a major way.
Well, he didn't notice at what a big scale this actually affected everyone before the end, and everything was gone.
That's true.
He was like, "Oh fuck."
Yeah, but now that as that became evident to him, like is this belief of his now even more clear and more urgent in his mind that he needs to deal with this, or has it perhaps taken like a step back and he's like appreciative of the efficiency that this happened with? Like, what is Minnow's frame of mind after the events that transpired last time?
It's twofold. He's pretty happy that it emptied the area pretty quickly, but he's also very aware that it won't be long before everyone comes storming back. Maybe he should make a harness for his brother so he can jump off with him.
Yeah, okay, so it's a matter of, for Minnow, he doesn't really, it adds no sense of urgency for him really, or it doesn't reinforce the belief in any way. It's more that
he's just like, I should probably do something next time this is about to happen.
Okay.
But right now, we kinda needed it or we would have been dead.
Alright.
Yeah.
Cool. And your third belief?
He's not as stupid as to say, no, we cannot do anything at all. It's more like, okay, if he hadn't done that, we would probably be dead. But still, bad boy.
Yeah, I'm curious about that actually. You say you would probably be dead. Does Minnow have any reason to believe his father would want him dead?
No, more the fact that once they started killing, they were fighting for their lives.
Yes.
Even a monster fighting for its life will bite and won't think about how hard they are biting.
Yeah, that definitely happened right as the first person got exploded with lightning, the rest started fighting for their lives instead of fighting to subdue you. That happened.
Exactly.
But you know the order of things in this case. Does that matter to you?
So he's a bad boy, but in the end he had to kind of keep going. But he's still a bad boy.
All right. Yeah, that's interesting. Cool.
He also did scold him. Why the hell did you set fire to everything? He didn't see most of the fight because he was busy, but after he's just like, "Aw,
damn it."
Efficient, but damn it.
Let's talk about your third belief then.
I need to find out what happened to the product, so I need an alchemical kit. I need to eat, and Nico needs money to give me that.
Yeah, so this is you want the organization you're in to prosper, right? It's about in the same venue as the first belief, but you've segmented it so that you're taking it in step by step. So getting an alchemical kit and then researching the faulty product and then doing something else from that, I assume is the path you're zoning in on.
Yay, Echo!
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, what is up with the echo? Ah, it's gone. Okay.
So it's my fault. I don't know what it is. Every time I switch my microphone off to not be heard, for some reason it sets echo upon your microphone.
That's interesting.
It's because the computer's microphone starts instead.
That might be it. It might be like it starts playbacking your stereo mix or something.
Yep.
It's giving you a
Pain in the arse.
mixtape in hopes that you will date it.
I won't be able to switch my
I have learned that the art of digital audio and working the audio inputs on a computer is hard to master and very fickle. There's probably some people who can do it very efficiently, but for the life of me, I'm just hip shooting every time we do this recording.
Like my previous problem with Skype, where I called a support and they're like, yeah, okay, I've tried every single possible thing. It's still not working. We'll just call back to an earlier version and hope that fixes it.
Yep. Well, they do say that once technology becomes sufficiently advanced, it's indistinguishable from magic. So I guess the people working the Skype support line are just like, I don't know, just pray.
Yes, pray to the Skype machine.
Yep. All praise the Omnissiah.
It's actually pretty accurate, especially if you think about magic as in the burning wheel kind of way, because it takes a fucking long time to learn, and it can still drain you.
It's true.
Mastering it takes a lot of time, and the minute you mastered something, there's something new out there, and fuck you.
Yeah, it's almost like it's representative of a wheel that is turning and on fire.
Yep.
Let's talk about your
I am a
instincts.
lightning machine.
Let's talk about Minnow's instincts. What does Minnow do instinctively?
If I see Shisha getting into trouble, drop what I'm doing and go to his side.
Yep,
I did that.
you did.
That's probably why the fucking thing escalated.
That
He
may
went
be
up
the
to the
case.
side on instinct and later thought out, oops, bad idea. If I see something attractive, flirt.
Yep.
I like how it's something.
It's
Oh
like-
Well,
wow,
some
that is
ladies
one
think they're
attractive rock.
men, and some men see themselves as ladies.
This is like a really, really seductively carved totem pole.
I'm going to flirt with it.
So okay, so
Share his vision enough, and he might think a totem pole a man and start talking to it. Yeah.
so
If surprised, draw a weapon.
if surprised, draw weapon. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah,
I'm still
and
looking forward to the flirt thing getting me into trouble.
it's true. You did have that one instance where you could definitely have made a bit of complications for yourself, or created an awkward situation, but you elected not to in the name of helping your employer.
Yeah.
So okay, and let's talk about your traits then. What do you have for traits?
Nothing interesting.
All right, what are those?
Mark of privilege, gifted, obscure aura, cool-headed, base humility, spooky.
Cool.
I have a relationship with Harriet Joy,
Yep.
and enemy circle with Dr. Benjamin Koska.
That is true. That
At
definitely
aptitude
happened.
6. Because he's not as angry with me as he were before.
Yeah, if you ever make that, if you change the nature of that relationship to where you are no longer enemies, he will. You have a better aptitude for turning him into a actual relationship than the others do. So, good on you.
I'm actually thinking about doing that.
That's Minnow.
Not having a doctor in your back pocket.
It is. All right, so that's it for Minnow. Let's talk about Nicholas.
Yes.
Your beliefs, sir.
First belief, my organization is running low on supplies, and so I must restock the gang by any means. For money, I will take the recent shipment of Lylan cloth to sell for a profit. I have actually changed my second belief.
Let's hear it.
My new gang members and their magic is both useful and dangerous. I must convince them to be more discreet using it.
Yeah, I think that's okay.
Good luck.
I mean, we've seen the other belief, like the wanting to earn money, right? That is a driving goal behind what you're presently doing.
Yes.
But yeah, I don't mind you changing that up, because I feel like making a belief about your party members is good practice.
Yes. I felt that I wasn't
what did I
actioning
miss?
enough on the previous belief, so I wanted to introduce one that could actually net me a few more fate points if I try to work towards it.
Yeah, and asking them to be more discreet in using it is pretty cool. I look forward to that conversation.
Yes. Okay, and belief number 3, someone threatens the image of my product. I will kill them to ensure they and others never do so again. Yeah, so this one I want to keep for now until I am in a position where I can properly act on it, but yeah, as it is, I'm not in a position to do so.
Yeah, you've not really you've not been chasing that particular belief that much, but I think it's still relevant. I can see you going about doing something about that soon enough. So let's hear about your instincts.
Instinct 1, never offer mercy to an enemy.
Yeah.
Instinct 2, everyone's out to get me, so trust no one. And instinct 3, always carry a sharp knife.
Wonderful. And your bits? Not your bits, your traits.
My character traits: paranoid, odd, nihilistic, callous, and one die trait in the form of Louis Woo, which means that I may laugh uncontrollably when confronted by dangerous or life-threatening situations.
Yeah, that's your. You replace that with what is it? It's standard rule. You laugh instead.
Yes.
Yeah, it's wonderful. I do mean to read that book at some point. Right now I'm busy reading Wizard of Earthsea. Okay, cool. And last but not least, Shihaoshi. Let's hear your bits.
Sure. Shouldn't we get a room first?
Oh my, sir, please.
Ah. It is
Do you
my
still
right.
remember the numbers? I have both length and girth.
I think I do too. Now, beliefs. It is my right to become a powerful sorcerer unlike anything the world has ever seen. Fame is one form of power, therefore I will establish a cult around my person in order to grant myself the first stepping stone into national fame. I will spread panic in this city and among their citizens, and everyone shall know and fear my name.
Yeah, so this is your megalomaniacal Bond villain belief. I like it a lot.
I do too. Um, Second belief. I've convinced Mr. Smolak to let us join his organization, but words are only words if not followed by action. As such, I will prove to Mr. Smolak that my brother and I are useful by personally making sure we're successful in acquiring the cloth he wants.
Yeah, cool.
And the last one that I forgot to tweak that I probably should have.
Yeah.
The knowledge of old holds power untold, and then the bit I should have tweaked is still I will seek it out whenever I get the chance.
All right. So what are you thinking in terms of changing that up? What do you want to make different about it?
I wanted to make it more active,
Yeah.
so it's not just in case I find out something, but more of a I will actively seek it out.
Okay. Do you have any ideas for like how you want to word that or what you want to tie it into?
I was thinking along the lines of the knowledge of old holds powers untold, and Mr. Smolak has resources beyond my knowing. Perhaps I could, or I will try to convince him to help me find some, or something like that.
You will have him help you find like local sources of forgotten or arcane knowledge.
Yes.
Yeah, cool. So if you write something along those lines and just read it back to me, then that's pretty good. So we have Minnow trying to convince you that you should stop being like a Tesla coil, and Nicholas wanting to convince the both of you that you need to be discreet, and you wanting to convince Nicholas to go more into magic. It's cool. I like it. We're looking at a rickety bridge dynamic here.
Yes.
I want to see this conversation.
I'm not sure this is the best way to put it, but
I'm sure you
the
can
knowledge
wing
of old
details.
holds powers untold. Mr. Smolak has resources beyond what I do. I will endeavor to convince him to help me find these sources, or find sources. I don't
Yeah.
know if it's specific enough.
I mean, we know what you're talking about, right? So if you want to like wing the wording a bit later, that's fine. We know that the essence of this is that you want to enlist your employer and have him help you seek out arcane swag.
Yes, I changed it to I will endeavor to convince him to help me find sources of ancient and magical knowledge.
Cool, awesome. Yeah. All right. So with that, I think we'll start the game. And
You don't want my instincts?
I do actually. I forgot what we didn't finish yours. So let's hear your instincts and your traits before we start up.
My instincts. If weird shit happens, check if I'm dreaming, such as pin self, look at hands, and try to read stuff. Respond to threats with intimidation. And 3, ask Minomir for advice when you need it.
Yeah.
Those are the erect eyes of my bits. Now for the traits. I have base humility, spooky, obsessed, catamite, mark of privilege, aura of fear, and gifted. Gifted.
Cool. Yeah. That's excellent. Okay, so yeah, I think that's it. We've gone through everyone. All right, in that case, let's head into the game. So I don't think we immediately joined you guys. I think in the same venue as last time. When we start today's session, the first thing we see is something that is removed from you guys. The first thing we see is earlier in that very same day that we played through last time. We see like a bed in a dusty chamber, early morning sunlight, and we hear a cockerel squawk outside, waking people to their daily business. And a guy rises from the bed, like a young fella, rises, puts on his clothes and moves outside, shutting the door behind him. And we cut to the very same person a little bit later in the day, as he's helping a lot of men and women construct a building somewhere in town. It's still somewhere in Manning Bridge, probably like in the poorer district, like in Greywater or something. They're reconstructing a building. Just normal hard labor, and we see them sit down, have a rest, chat, though we cannot hear exactly what's being said. We still focus on the same person. He stands up, he smiles and waves, everyone waves back. And he puts his clothes on again, and we can see that he is when he's putting his clothes back on, he's been taking them off because it's hot weather and he's been working hard. When he puts them back on, it is the like the clerical vestment of a godly man of the covenant, which is the religion worshipping the elements unified and the national faith of Ariastor. And we cut to him walking down a well-traveled street with a basket in hand, coming up to an elderly gentleman standing outside his store and raising a hand to greet him. They have a conversation, and the young man with the basket hands it over to the old man, who smiles and nods and goes inside. There's generally, like, we get the sense that like this is a well-liked young man. We get the sense that he's being very dutiful and he's helping others. Mm-hmm. And we have a final cut of this person as he is entering like a densely packed market. There are stalls with people hawking their wares and people shouting, and there's like a good mood going on. It's like very densely packed. We can feel like the heavy energy in the air. And as he's walking down, the music that's been playing in the background, which is kind of soft and well-mooded music, kind of fades, so we can hear the incidental noises of the market and, as I said, people shouting and so on. And he walks through the throng of people, and then he stops and looks down, and a little girl has bumped into his leg and is looking up at him, and they smile to one another, and she apologizes. He apologizes back, and then there's a noise from out somewhere in the crowd, and he looks, and the little girl is trying to look too, but she can't see anything because there's a lot of much taller people around. And we hear shouting. It's pretty muted because it's over the throng of people, but we hear shouting and the weapon noise, and people start like a murmur is drifting through the crowd, and then suddenly there's like a discharge of energy, and people start screaming, and a ripple of movement like sweeps through the crowd, and people starts backing off. And we see the man. He's looking. He looks through the crowd and like takes a step back, away as the people start moving in his direction. And the little girl is also squinting through the crowd, and we see like a crackle of lightning, a crackle of white fire, burning like out at the very edge of our sight, and then it sort of rips through the air and changes direction and streaks straight towards this little girl. And as it blasts forward, we have a close-up of the little girl just looking horrified, just stock still as this bolt of energy streaks towards her. And then suddenly a hand reaches down, grabs her by the scruff of her neck, and pulls her sideways. This bolt of energy, with malicious intent, tries to like change its course to strike her, but now its path is intercepted by the form of this young man who's just ripped her aside, and it hits him, and we have like a silhouette shot of his legs being blown off.
Oh, poor guy.
And then the crowd washes over these people, and they vanish under heavy footsteps as people scatter in wild panic. And in the background, we see you three exchanging blows and spells with some well-armed, some spear-armed refugees. And then we have a brief cut to black, and we see the same place. It's later in the day. There are no people. Like the throng of people is gone. There's only the cobblestones, and a couple of people have started pouring back in. The body of this young cleric, this young priest, is lying in an angle that tastefully obscures the horrible damage that's been done to him. But a couple of people are standing around him. Most of them are crying. Someone is kneeling and like clutching at his robes, but of course he's not responding. And off to the side, we see a bucket brigade throwing water on a still burning building. The fire on the roof has moved on and latched onto the roof of a nearby house, but they're seeming to start to get it under control. And as the camera like pans around the square, we see dead people, people who have been killed by magic or have been trampled. And we see a wagon pull up, and someone steps out. We only get like a very like lacking in detail shot of them, but it's someone wearing a heavy raincoat and an eye patch, looking out over the whole mess. And as he beholds the building and he beholds the carnage, someone comes up to him and whispers, and he clutches his hand around a symbol of a wheel that's dangling from a cord around his neck. And then we have that scene ends there, and when the next thing we see is you guys dragging a strider by its bit, and the strider dragging a cart through the streets of Pike Market. Where do we meet you guys when we see you?
I think that will be up to Bossman.
Aside from, well, yeah, pretty much when we get back to the HQ, aside from the occasional curse and the occasional sort of urging the beast on and urging the other two to urge the beast on, there's not much by the way of conversation. He's very keen to just get out of the way and get back to safety.
Yeah.
Or the closest thing that a paranoid man can get to safety.
So for him, like, where is home to safety? Is that back at your base?
Yes.
We can join you as you pull the wagon back up into your base if you want to.
That'd be good.
Okay, so when we fade in on you, we essentially see like behind the building, or like the courtyard, in the cluster of buildings in which yours lie. Mm-hmm. And there in behind that, you've just like managed to squeeze the cart through the narrow alleyway back into that place, and you're hitching the strider to a pole next to another strider that's been standing there, which is of course the strider you arrived on. And yeah, you have a wagon, and once you've hitched the strider, there's like this brief moment where it's just the three of you standing there in this like densely packed part of the city, like the space between buildings where all of them like loom, and the jettied stories and shoddy craftsmanship of the buildings in general kind of make them look like leering faces looking down at you. So we join you in that scene. What do you do?
Yihao looks rather pleased with himself.
I'm not sure. I don't think the same can be said for Nicholas. What would he do? We're still on the street, are we?
Yeah, if you want to be. I mean, this is not strictly speaking the street, right? This is the space in the center of a square of buildings.
Oh, what was it you described as leering faces?
It's basically the buildings, right? It's the buildings down here are of an older variety. They have started to adopt like the colonial look, but essentially we're dealing with a lot of non-uniform angles and so on. So the buildings go up, and then because of the jettied stories, they kind of like jut out, right? The first story juts out, and then it goes up into a peaked roof. So
yeah, I think Yahudi looks very pleased with himself, and he kind of looks around, and then his expression changes to one of confusion, and he stares intently at nothing for quite a while, until shaking his head, and then going back to... Well, he doesn't look as pleased anymore, but still looking pretty Oh yeah, I'm good.
What
hmm
confuses him, if I'm allowed to ask?
Um, whether or not this place is actually real right now.
Ah, very interesting. So, is he is this a continued like is he continuing to think, is this real or is it not, or does he test, or does he settle for just no, this is fine, this is definitely real, I'm thinking too much.
I think as he shakes his head, he leans against a nearby building,
Yeah.
and that definitely tethers him and gives him a feeling of realness.
All right. Cool. Cool. So of course you guys see Jihao have like a brief moment of not appearing to be wholly there, and then, as Rasmus described, he seems to be back. What do you do?
Well, if we've got the animals hitched up, well, we'd have them hitched up in the courtyard, wouldn't we? So
I mean, you can't really have it inside. It is not an indoor animal.
no, obviously not. But it would be in the courtyard where people other than us aren't. So
Yeah, I mean, essentially, people can go out here. I'm imagining, and correct me if I'm wrong. You can tell me what this place looks like if you have a different view of it. But I'm imagining, like in this part of the city, it's a place where it's very cluttered. Where people either like sit on the steps up to their buildings, or or we have some children playing, but they're basically playing in squalor because this is a shit part of town.
let's see. Okay,
Maybe someone are looking and pointing at the large goat creature that has just now gotten a mate and has been here for a couple of for a few weeks, right? There's been this huge goat creature that their parents have cautioned them to not go near because it's big and dangerous and strange.
Yeah. Fair enough. I must admit, I had originally pictured it as being a private courtyard, but I suppose that's a little bit too much to ask.
I mean,
Yeah,
we could work it like that, right? It could be that essentially this building is probably not just standing on its own. It's part of a series of buildings, but it could be that there is an accepted agreement among the people of that little. I hesitate to call it a block of buildings, but that is what it is. It's just a very ramshackle block of buildings. It could be there is an agreement amongst those that this place is your place, and they don't use the behind area because you have your voice carries a bit of weight, considering that at your word, several leanly muscled, unscrupulous-looking men jump to attention.
all right, okay.
So
Good
if that's what
wording.
you want, then that could be what is actually going on.
Well, we'll stick with what you've suggested for now. Yeah, let's just go with the original idea.
All right.
Okay, so cart's sort of is in a secured as well, so that's all out of the way. No one's going to try and take it. In that case,
someone
I'll
might be, but you can only be so sure. The people you took it from probably had the same thought.
Yeah, well, there's nowhere else we can put it, really.
Yeah, it's true.
In that case, I'll beckon for the other two to join me inside.
Yeah, just shrugs and follows.
What about Minnow? I think you're muted, AJ.
Yes, I was.
Does
He
Minnow
probably
follow suit?
He went inside after tying it up. There's no reason to stand out there like idiots.
Wonderful. All right, so we find you back inside the building. What do you do?
Sit down to rest a little.
Yeah. Stand with my hands on the table, just pondering briefly.
What is Nikki pondering?
What he's going to say to these two and where to go from here. Because, well, they succeeded, that's all well and good, but they did cause quite a ruckus doing so, which is not originally what he'd hoped for.
I think before Nikki gets to say anything,
Mm-hmm.
Minnow just looks over at his dear brother. You have a spear. Why didn't you use it?
He turns slowly to look at you with a confused look at first, and then he smiles and says, "Well, magic is much more efficient. You saw what their spears did to me."
Are you saying you're too weak to handle it?
No, I'm saying that why bother with a spear when I could shoot them with lightning from afar and not be in danger of getting speared myself.
But it ran rambunctious. It could have turned around and hit you in the face. We've seen that happen before.
Well, magic is powerful, and that is not a power easily contained. You know that.
Minna just sighs deeply. Well, you did make a pretty big show out there.
Yes. We show we did not need.
Against our own tribe to...
We got a
Further
card,
damage
didn't
it?
we?
What?
We got the card and the strider, didn't we?
Yeah,
Besides,
but you
I
know
told them
that.
to back off.
You know that. Once he finds out what happened, he'll put two and two together, and we won't have any peace at all.
Well, then we'll just have to kill Dad. Then we'll have peace.
But you couldn't do it last time you saw him. What makes you think you'll be able to do it now?
Preferably a range advantage.
So I'm very curious about this because, and it's not that I want to like halt the conversation, but I feel like I have to. So one of you has a relationship with your father, right? That is, Shihao has an unfriendly relationship with your father, which denotes, to me at least, in the sense that it is unfriendly and not hostile, that he at least has not attempted to kill you. So
that sounds about right.
So when this conversation comes up the way it does that mean you've tried to kill him before?
I have my idea behind it was if you were so unhappy about him back then, which you were, you didn't even try to kill him, coward.
Okay.
So you were probably not strong enough to actually challenge him last time you two had an argument.
Probably not.
And therefore he is pointing this out. Well, you were too scared of fighting him last time. What the hell makes you think you can do it now?
Does he say that?
No, but it's implied.
Um,
It's pretty obviously implied.
I mean, you two, of anyone in this group, the two of you are probably very aware of what lies beneath the spoken words, right? You understand each other on that level.
Yep.
Yeah.
Minnow doesn't care for the tribe because they pretty much said, well, because you made that boo-boo and got in trouble, we no longer want you here.
Is that the case?
So, I figure that's why.
I had been of the...
I have no idea.
I have had been of the conviction, although I will happily change my understanding of it, but I had been of the conviction that you guys were sent away to one of the cities to study as sorcerers. That's the thing that happened according to your life paths. Then
Yep, this is
Shihao
true.
broke tradition by visiting a forbidden place, got himself cursed in the process, and as a result of being ostracized by the people of the Stormlands for breaking tradition, you went south, not expecting to find a welcoming home with your tribe originally.
I think we stayed in the Stormlands for a while, but eventually went south.
Yeah, so have you actually seen your father since you initially left for your sorceress training?
For Shihao, I would prefer to say no.
I think Menov's seen him, and that is why he doesn't have a relationship at all with his daddy Dearest.
Right, so it didn't reach a point where it became decidedly negative, because the last time you saw each other, it was without the burden of your cursed sibling there.
Actually, that might be one of the reasons he disliked Shihao so much. If he's seen Minnow and been like, "Well, you can come home," and Minnow's been like, "No," No, gotta help brother.
Yeah, that
I have a feeling that the meeting went something along the lines that Daddy wanted to meet Minnow because he wanted Minnow home. Jihao could go fuck himself somewhere because he broke traditions and therefore was a bad boy. He could go die in a corner for all he cared.
okay.
And Minnow probably met with him because, well, Daddy wanted to meet, and then he told Minnow the same thing. Minnow went, well, I'm not coming home, Daddy. And he went, well, I'm sad to hear that.
Alright, so he
Like,
kind of still has.
He still wants Minnow home, but Minnow no longer have any respect nor any profound dislike for the man he just left.
Right. So the essence here is that he is transferring his disappointment in you and blaming it on Shihao for being the one keeping you from the tribe.
He
The
probably
corruptor.
blames Jihao for doing what he did because Minnow is loyal enough to stay with him.
All right. Cool. Yeah. Sure. So yeah. Okay. So we have some context for this conversation. By all means, go on.
Will also explain why Minnow doesn't have a relationship with his dad, good nor bad.
It definitely could. All right. Well, do go on. Happy we.
So I think the last thing I said was preferably a range advancement
Yeah.
advantage. I think Jihao turns to Nicholas and says, "Don't worry. If he becomes a problem, I'll take him out."
That's besides the point. I didn't realise I was going to be employing you so you could come and drag your private little conflicts into my business.
Perhaps you should have chosen another tribe for us to rob them.
God knows. Because of course I have, because I know which tribe from which, because I'm that well fucking educated.
Well, you had experts you could ask.
Yeah.
So just to remind you, specifically you, Chris, because I don't know how Nikki remembers the course of events, but the one initiating the conflicts to begin with was Shihao.
Yep.
So you walked out on your orders looking for someone to rob, and as you spotted someone, Shihao just kind of ran with the initiative. So
Yeah,
I'm leaving it up to you if you remember it that way or so on, but I'm asking because I want to know if Nikki's just taking this.
Yeah, go on. Funny that. Not that I had much time to ask, because someone decided to just get in there, get stuck in, and not bother with the specifics.
Well, we've already decided that when we saw a tribe, I would approach to scare them away. Unfortunately, this guy turned out to be, well, more resilient than any of your men have been so far.
Understandable. But still, not ideal. Plus, of course, I do agree with your darling brother on this matter. As useful as magic may be, and as far as I can tell, you think it means it is meant to be the end-all and be-all to every problem under the sun. I personally find I would have preferred it if we had used methods a little bit more discreet in our conflict. For all we know, the people of the city now think there are magic-wielding Stormlander terrorists among them, here to sow chaos and do all kinds of things. That gets in the way.
Well, unless you let people know that you are in control of the nasty magical people, that could earn you a few favors.
Or it could get me hung.
That depends on the nasty magic wielding people then, doesn't it? And how efficient they are at protecting you.
It must be such a wonderful, wonderful world you live in where everything is just that simple.
Yeah, it's rugs. If it gets in the way, I destroy it.
One day that might come back to bite you on the arse. The world doesn't owe you any favours. It won't always work the way you want it to, even with magic.
So
Well, I'm not asking the world. I'm making it.
So I'm curious here because this is first of all, I love this conversation. I love that Shihao is like, yeah, you hired me, now depend on me.
No, I mean,
I love it. So It seems to me that like we have the conversation going here. We know from just having visited Nikki's beliefs and from having visited Shihao's beliefs that like something is up in the air right now, right? There is Nikki saying you should like rein it in, and you have just like recently made up your mind that maybe you would want to ask Nikki for help in this. So him asking you to rein it in is probably not exactly what you want, I assume. So with that in mind, it seems like both of you have something up in the air here that you want to do something about, or as it may be, you both have something to fight for. In this case, something you believe. So I figure if you feel like it, we should settle this with a duel of wits.
Sure. But we should probably not do that with 10 minutes to a break.
No, I would agree. I just wanted to see if both of you felt like that would like that was fitting here. That if you would be willing to engage in a duel of fates to see who of you can convince the other one that he is in the right in this regard. Because we've now been we are privy to your opinions. We know kind of where you're coming from, so I figured we should see how this turns out.
It's probably a good idea.
Yeah, I think it sounds good.
Okay, so what I think we're gonna do is we're gonna take a break, and when we come back from the break, I will be taking us through our first duel of wits, and help you guys understand how is this, what's going on. What's on the line between Shihao and Nikki, and what can Minomir do to influence the duel?
Should he want to?
Should he want to, indeed. If you decide to do so, you are, we'll get into the details of how exactly everything works after the break. So I think we'll take a break now, and we'll be right back. So catch you then, folks. Don't go anywhere.